Yes, guys, hello and welcome to SpursRelated. I hope you're all doing well on this Wednesday afternoon, apart from some, of course, bad news, as you can see by the title. But, it may not be all bad news. We may be able to fill you with some confidence of some potential other links that are hotting up in the transfer rumour window, as we like to call it over here at SpursRelated. But, Andre, how you doing, mate?
Well, it's bad news. Horrible way to start the day, at least on my end, obviously, all the way up in Canada. So it's early days for me. But yeah, not the best news to sort of see. But as we mentioned in the previous episode, the way that Paratici works, he has like maybe 6 or 7 names ready to go in case one doesn't work out. So it's not the end of the world here.
Yeah, exactly that. I mean, to be honest with you, Bastoni was always going to be a hard one to convince. He's very much an Inter Milan boy, like we have all been talking about for goodness knows how many episodes now. It was always going to be a hard one. It's always going to be a high fee. He was always highly sought after. Even Man United were linked with him at the end. So, yeah, it pretty much is confirmed by Fabrizio Romano through his agent that it looks like this guy is staying put at Inter Milan. He'll probably end up signing a new contract, let's be honest. And yeah,
Sure about that?
I
I
think
don't
he'll
think
sign a
so.
new contract. I mean, of course, there's this debate about, people might still think that bids may sway Inter. Obviously, Inter Milan is still in a lot of financial problems, but I just think this guy is obsessed with Inter Milan. Of course, Inter Milan boy. I just see him staying. But let's welcome in some of the chat. And of course, as I put on the Instagram guys and Twitter, let's hear what you guys think about this and who the potential other option could be that we could go for next. Obviously, the obvious ones, Gvardiol, Pau Torres. There's a couple of others that we have been linked with, but I think these two are the main ones. Renault's in here. Big up, Renault. Thanks for joining, mate. Not seen you before. He says Gvardiol. On your bike, Scott. Big up, everyone. COYS. Big up on your bike, Scott. Legend. Joe McBride. The Premier League always needs Torres. Brilliant. Fernando Torres, of course. And Gvardiol and Torres is... I'm guessing you meant the other way around because you said Gvardiol, so you mean Gvardiol is a better option than Torres. But let's hear what the rest of the chat is thinking on this one. A, are you gutted about Bastoni? And B, who is your next choice B? But Andre, let's wrap things up in terms of the official kind of statement from Fabrizio Romano on Bastoni and what we should, need to know about this situation now.
Well, the biggest thing is that I guess there was a meeting that happened, I guess, with all the sort of the news hyping up that we might be talking to the agent and Inter. And now, the agent has come out, Tullio Tinti, and he's basically said that he's going to stay at Inter and that he's happy to be there. He still has a contract, so there's no problem there. So obviously that's a problem for us. And you never know, right? Inter has to sort of, they need to get that bill up. They have some financial problems. So maybe the right bid might change everything. But at the moment, the confirmation is, at least from the agent's point of view, from the player's point of view, that he's staying. And I mean, I believe it was a few days ago, there was this whole thing going on where the player wasn't sure if he was ready to come to the Premier League yet. It is a big step, and it takes some good self-evaluation to really think about where you should go next if you're ready for something, right?
Yeah.
By all means, this guy could be world class. He's got the potential to be one. And maybe this season, at least, it's not the right time yet. He's had one very, very promising season. I'm pretty sure what he's trying to look at maybe is, can I keep this going? Can I keep being the starter at Inter and really prove myself there? And then when I'm mentally ready, head to the Premier League where Conte wants me. This could be a signing for next season.
Yeah, but is the big question mark over what you just said, Andre, is Conte going to be around next season with Spurs? He doesn't normally last more than 2 seasons at a club, and this would be his second season pretty much. So that's the question mark I have there. You could argue, well, next season he could obviously go to Manchester City, Manchester United are probably going to get better. So it's like, for me, as a Spurs fan, I'm feeling like this is our chance to get him and it's slipping through our fingers. It's going to be one of those ones that's a case of the ones that got away. I feel like that is how I'm feeling about this right now. We say it all the time about Dybala. Dybala will never come to Spurs now. You know, we've never been linked with him since that window where we could have got him and didn't pay the image rights for him. And now he's going to Inter Milan. Like, it just feels like this one could be one that slipped the net and we will regret in future seasons. That's how I'm feeling from a fan perspective on this one.
Of course, but you also have to realize this isn't slipping through our fingers because someone didn't want to pay a bit more. This is more the player making this decision. And it's not like he's sitting there saying he doesn't ever want to come to Tottenham. He hasn't come out and said that. The news was mainly that he just doesn't feel ready for it. And that's totally cool. You know, it happens. You know, he's only 23. He's got some more to do. And, you know, if we're progressing, I don't see why Conte wouldn't stay. If we're putting all our chips into Antonio Conte, I don't see why Antonio Conte would just leave us. Especially, let's say we win a trophy, even if it's like, you know, an FA Cup or something, just any trophy at all. That's already a step forward. And I think Conte having another meeting, seeing that it's like, okay, we're going to continue this and keep going. This time, let's go for Bastoni once the season comes to an end. I'm sure he'd be like, sure, let's do it. So by all means, I'm not that worried. I'll see him in a year.
Maybe. I still think it could be a case of it got away. I'm still sticking by that. Renault's saying gutted about Bastoni, but Paratici has backups, hopefully, which we're going to get into. Joe's saying, I personally think Torres is a great option anyway. 25, more experience, and the fact he started under Emre's defensive system shows how well he can be drilled. Conte must gain confidence in that. Simply Ace Sinir, big up, mate. Renault's saying maybe we can go from next summer, like Andre's saying. SOF's going, Gvardiol is not happening, guys. Easily will cost around 80 mil. Exiati, nice to see you again, mate. He says Torres is very tough to get. Many clubs looking at him. Toxic headshots in here saying, hi, guys. Great support at the moment, people. Yeah, Conte could dip, which is not good. Evening, lad, says Mark. Mark, hope you're doing well, mate. He says, who are we getting now then? That's the question. It looks like Pau Torres is now the kind of Bastoni at that lead kind of position, but let's find out. Toxic Headshot says, at least we know before the window opens. That's very true. I mean, the window's open now, so who knows what's going to happen. Bobby K's in here, says big up James Andre and everyone in the chat. COYS, big up Bobby K. Poch back if Conte leaves next year. I think that's a whole nother video, Renault. I think that's a whole nother video. Plenty of players out there, but we have the best in Romero. But we need someone to partner Romero. That's the problem. Like, you know, that's what I think is key for Romero to even progress further. For me, Levy was prepared to pay, which is positive, and we've made 2 signings already. We're going in the right direction. Completely agree. Comments coming flooding. I can't even keep up. Liverpool and City get their top targets. We don't. The Conte pull for Bastoni wasn't enough. Spurs need to start winning to get these players. Wow. What do you guys think in the chat on that comment? I mean, could be seen as fair enough. You know, the Champions League, the Conte effect wasn't enough to pull Bastoni away from Inter Milan. Who are, of course, a huge club, but I mean, the Conte pull, Champions League as well. I mean, obviously Inter Milan in it as well, but I think Spurs are going maybe up and Inter Milan because their financial situation potentially going sideways. Not sure if that's a harsh comment or not, but yeah, don't write off anything, guys. This Toxic Headshot. If we do good next season, Conte will stay, he thinks. My question is, who are Inter selling? Because they need more money, apparently. They're getting Bremer and Dybala. Any thoughts? Yeah, they're going to have to get rid of players as well, Andre, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. So maybe the right price might change everything. But at the same time, I'm sticking to my guns here. If he doesn't come this season, I will see him next season.
Yeah, I feel like the SOF's right here about just like Skriniar 2 years ago. This stream's over. It does feel a bit like Skriniar. We never talked about him after that. It is a good point. The Bertie Hotspur is saying, big up, guys. Smash a like. Big up at Bertie Hotspur. Really do appreciate the support. And, guys, if you could smash a thumbs up on this video, it does really help us push towards 1K. We're about 90 subs off now. It's excruciatingly close, and we want to kind of get there as soon as possible to keep providing you guys with as much content as possible. And I'm sure you guys are enjoying it at the moment. Don't forget, obviously, quick one, timestamps. Of course, if you want to jump to a certain section on this video will probably be between 40 minutes and an hour. Just smash onto the description, click the number and it will take you right there, and they will be up a few hours after this upload, so don't worry about that. Simply as saying, if Bastoni does not want to come, there is not a lot we can do. We need to draw a short list of players that are interested. We cannot just concentrate on one position, otherwise we'll get no one. Again, I kind of agree with this as well. And Leo finally is saying, I think he just really loves the club, nothing towards us. Yeah, but it is obviously a massive shame on Bastoni, and I mean, we'll get into the replacements. Well, I say replacements, the other options in just a minute. But for me, for a final concluding point on Bastoni, I think, of course, we were technically close in getting him, but we weren't that close. We weren't like, papers were down, ready. I don't feel like it was that close. I feel like it was still verbally trying to agree this deal. And of course, we couldn't really convince him, like I said, the Inter man he is. It didn't really happen for us. And I think we were prepared to pay the money as per this investment of, 150 million from ENIC that is confirmed. I think we would have paid the 61 million, I believe, that it was to get him. But I just believe we fell short just because of the pull wasn't quite there. Conte was there, and he's worked with Conte. Champions League, he would love to come in the Champions League. I don't feel like he's ready to come to the Premier. I think that's with any club. I think he'll come next season, like you were saying, Andre. But I think the Spurs boat has sailed. I can't see us getting him next season unless, of course, we win something. Conte stays, and then it's a completely different landscape. But for me, Conte doesn't stay more than 2 seasons per team, and I just can't see Conte staying at Spurs past this season, unless, of course, he just absolutely loves his time here, wins things. But he loved his time at Inter, he loved his time at Chelsea. He never stayed more than, I think, 2-3 seasons at either club. So for me, I think we should have got Bastoni now and really ramped up the kind of wages for him, the package, and given Inter Milan what they wanted, and I think we would have got it over the line. But having said that, like you said, we can't get someone over that is genuinely in love with Inter Milan and doesn't want to move. His family doesn't want to move. It's fair enough.
Yeah, no, I agree exactly. But I think just as quickly as now they're turning their heads to the next player, let's do the same here. Yep. There were tons of players on that list. I think at one point we did a video where there was a list of Gvardiol, Langley, Guehi, Bremer, all these players. Mm-hmm. But there's always been one that I was like, why isn't he showing up again? We won it last season.
And Jim Bob Gnarly is saying exactly this. You come at the right point, Gnarly. Jim Bob, or whatever you want me to call you, mate. He says, who would you take now instead of Bastoni? Well, this is Andre's number one, right?
Yeah, I've always thought it's always been about Pau Torres. I personally think that this player, we wanted him last season, but our issue was that he wanted Champions League. Villarreal had gotten to the Champions League. We couldn't offer that. But the tides have changed. 1 season later, we offer Champions League. We have some leverage because Villarreal want Lo Celso. And, Villarreal doesn't have Champions League, if I recall correctly.
No.
So it is one of those things where it's always been about this guy. And to me, I think this might be the perfect guy to bring in. He's left-footed, about 6 foot 2 inches. I believe he's got a release clause, even though his contract does end in 2024, a release clause of about 55 to 60 million euros, which I believe is about 51 million pounds. He scored 6 goals and got 1 assist from 47 matches, played over 4,000 minutes last season, 86% pass completion, 82% tackle success. Now, if those stats don't sort of scream to you that he would be great in the Tottenham squad, in that left-footed center-back position, then I can't help you.
Yeah, I mean, for me, this guy is quality. Like Joe was saying earlier in the comments, a little bit older than Bastoni by a couple of years, proven in an Emery system. I know we all meme Unai Emery, but actually, he won the Europa League with Villarreal. He got to the semi-finals the next season, and then obviously they lost to Liverpool. It was very close, actually, and obviously Liverpool ended up being finalists themselves, of course, and this guy is solid. He was quite a stand-up performer for them in the Champions League, stand-up performer for them in the league. Very, very solid player. Left-footed, left centre back, would fit like a glove in this system. I really do believe that. And I think he's probably a little bit more commanding than Bastoni in terms of, I think it comes with the experience. Like, I think he's a little bit taller, perhaps maybe more of a presence. Does Bastoni put in more gritty tackles? Probably. I can't say, for example, that, you know, it's that close. I mean, sorry, it's that much of a difference. But I think for me, Bastoni is probably more of a physical player in terms of playing in the Serie A, coming from much more of a physical league. However, I do think Pau Torres fits the Conte system perhaps slightly better, and that comes with, I think, a couple more years experience. Obviously he's got further in the Champions League, which is also huge. I think that is a big factor as well. Don't forget, I'm not saying we're going to get, you know, really far in the Champions League, but of course we've got to set our sights on that. We were there at one point. It's not mad to think that again. This guy's got experience in all competitions. I think Bastoni, of course, he's played in the Champions League as well. But don't forget, this guy has been to the semi-final of the Champions League and the Europa League final and won it. He's won European medals. Obviously, Bastoni's won the Serie A. But for me, think this guy's maybe a little bit more decorated right now. What do you think?
No, I agree exactly. And also just the fact that, honestly, if Pau Torres feels ready, then by all means, I would prefer a player who feels ready mentally, who's won trophies, who feels that it's his time to come to the Premier League. That veteran, that experience, that's the kind of players that Conte wants. So by all means, Bastoni will be a great signing, because I really do think if Spurs continue to progress every season, of course, Bastoni is going to want to come and play under Conte. But this guy can do a job, especially this season. We need a guy who's ready to go. And Pau Torres is the guy.
Absolutely.
Now, the one thing, though, is, as I think I've seen in the comments, yes, it's true. There are other clubs looking at him. Manchester United, Chelsea at one point, Man City at one point. But I think Manchester United is the one that's most closely linked. We got to go quick. We got to get this done if we want him.
Yep.
You know, if he's that good, then it's not a secret. So there's other clubs that are gonna want him.
Absolutely, 100%. Like you said, just need to be quick and change how we approach transfer windows in terms of other windows. Like, we've messed about in other windows and other clubs have beaten us to players. We can't be the Spurs of old in the transfer window. We must be the Spurs of new, for Conte, for Paratici's sake, for the good of the club. And I think that's very important. Exiati was just saying he wants UCL football as well, which is a point you made, Andre. But Dan COYS is in here. Always good to see you, Dan. He says, afternoon Spurs relatables, just finished work to this news. If it's not meant to be and he doesn't want to move, at least confirm it now and not drag it on until the end of the window. But we can dream. Great point, Dan. Exactly that. Let's not drag it out to the end of the window. I mean, technically, the actual transfer window doesn't open until, I believe, Friday. So, I mean, listen, at least we've drawn a line, hopefully under Bastoni. But, of course, technically, I don't want to draw a complete line under it. I hope there is still some hope. Because, to be honest with you, Bastoni would be brilliant if Pau Torres doesn't come off. You know, there's always going to be flips in this window. Stay tight, buckle yourselves in. It's probably going to be a video soon saying we're back in for Bastoni. I wouldn't even be surprised. Call me mad, says Leo Ball, but I would take Maguire to work and perform in Conte's system. It can probably be a decent price after this season.
You're trolling us, right?
Leo, I have no words. I don't know what you've been on today, but you know, whatever keeps you your head ticking, mate. I wouldn't touch Maguire with a barge pole. Honestly, I really wouldn't. Louis in here saying, "Come on, boys! Always good to see Louis." Simply Ace is saying Pau Torres would be an easy upgrade on Ben Davies. Then again, many would be. My problem is, how long are we going to take to get these deals over the line? And that is the big problem. Absolutely agree, Simply Ace. I really, really do. Manu will give Torres big wages. We don't know his motivation. Neither club is his boyhood club. Botman is going to Newcastle instead of Champions League teams. Yeah, well, maybe Botman is a money man. You know, he's obviously interested in the big wage and not playing, you know, Champions League football. You know, good luck to him. If he wants to be that player that follows the money, follows the bag, fair play indeed. But he's not my player if that's the case. Ellie's saying, hey, James and Andre, lovely to see you, lads. And I know you're missing watching Spurs as much as me. We really are, but we're loving this transfer window so far, Ellie. Of course, you know, leaving promised us more money, so that should mean more activity. And to be honest with you, it does look like it so far. 2 players already over the line before the start of the transfer window. It's absolutely crazy. It's unheard of for Tottenham Hotspur. You know, if you think about January, we were talking about no players up till January the 30th. So there you go. Favelli saying hello. Favelli, good to see you. Loving the Kulusevski profile picture, my friend. Great comments, great support tonight, guys. Really do appreciate the support. It really does mean a lot. And you know, we're trying to grow this community right now, and we're doing just that. And it's always great we bring up every single comment. You know, maybe some channels don't, maybe some channels have too many coming in, but we will always have time to bring up the chat comments and talk with you guys, because that's part of it. You know, that's part of the opinions and the show. Jim Bob Gnarly saying absolutely, but it's one of those I'd rather not have a player, even if they're quality, if they don't want to come. I do agree. And our Sharma saying, supporting Spurs from India, big yourself up, mate. Appreciate you joining all the way from India. I hope you're having a good day out there. It must be quite late. But listen, Andre, let's move on from Pau Torres now, and let's talk about another potential signing that could happen. Or are we going straight over to Fraser Forster?
I think we should just go straight over to.
Okay, before we do so, sorry, I thought you had another centre back prepared. Before we do that, then, guys, how about we ask the question? I'll put it on the bottom of the screen. Do you want Pau Torres as your number 1 option now you know that Bastoni technically is probably not coming to Spurs? Or are you going for more of a Gvardiol or another option? Put it in the chat. Yes to Pau Torres, no to Pau Torres. Let us know. I'll put it below. And I'm going to flip the question on my co-host, Andre. What do you think? Pau Torres, is he your number 1 option?
Oh, 100%. I think this is a different type of Tottenham going into this window. I personally think the reason Bastoni has been confirmed as no, more or less, like, again, there could always be something that happens, a twist of the tail, but I feel the reason this news has come out today is because Tottenham are pushing for this signing. Conte Paratici are probably saying, you know what, let's just get a confirmation, so let's push. Let's see what they say, because we do not want to enter this window and lose out on another one of our options if Bastoni is not going to come. So by all means, I think this is a different Tottenham, and I think that if Pau Torres is available, we have that leverage. Lo Celso going to Villarreal. They're discussing with us, maybe some sort of deal can be made where instead of costing, maybe it'll cost us 55 million to get him, but then they spend 20 million on Lo Celso. That's already some money back. I'd say get him. I think we're going to get him, to be honest.
Okay, interesting. Let's see what the chat are thinking on this. David saying, believe the hype on Bastoni. David, we all did. Don't worry about it. We're in for Pau Torres now. That's all that matters. Exiati says yes, but how much will he cost? Does anyone know? What was that price? You said 51 million, wasn't it, Andre?
51 million pounds, 55 million to 60 million euros. That's his release clause that he has.
As per Fabrizio Romano, of course, tier 1 source. Louis saying I would take him not as aggressive, but much better than all our centre-backs. Maybe other than Romero, but, I get that. I'm still saying Romero's better than even Pau Torres, but they'd work phenomenally together. Pau Torres now is the top option for Simply Ace as well. And just to finish on this one, really, he's the top option for me. I don't know enough about this Gvardiol, and I believe I'm hearing figures like 70 to 80 million pounds we have to pay for this guy. I feel like you go for a slightly more experienced player that's 25 years of age, that's played, like I said, in many European finals and semi-finals, and I think you go for this guy, left-footed, Villarreal is kind of leader, if you like, and played in an Emery system, which is good at defending. So for me, Pau Torres is the one now. He really is the one. Dan COYS is also saying Pau Torres.
Yeah, the best quote I think you had, he fits in like a glove. I think that's exactly how we should be thinking about this guy. They won the Europa League, something we couldn't do. And then he follows it up with getting to the semifinals of the Champions League with, not to put down Villarreal, But I'm pretty sure when this season started, you did not think Villarreal in the semifinals.
The population of Villarreal is like 20, 30,000 people, and they're in the Champions League semi-finals. It was a crazy achievement, and Unai Emery's done a great job over there. Much better job than he did at Arsenal, let's be honest. But it's just class. But anyway, let's move on from Pau Torres, guys. It's exciting. If you want news on Pau Torres as it comes in, obviously follow our socials, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Just search Spurs Related, you'll find us there, and we will keep you as up to date as possible when the news drops. But Andre, moving on to, of course, the announcement, which was it was yesterday or earlier today. I can't even remember, all the days merge into one. But Fraser Forster obviously being announced. I think it was yesterday. Fraser Forster being announced. Thoughts on this one, guys? Are you happy with him as a backup goalkeeper option? For me, just very quickly, I think it's a much better option than Galini. I'm afraid. I mean, Galini didn't quite work out. Fraser Forster, experienced goalie, has played for England before. A very, very solid goalkeeper. Played for Celtic for a couple of seasons. For me, it's almost like a Joe Hart, but I think he's probably a little bit better than Joe Hart. But let's see. He could be quite quiet like Joe Hart and not get many games. But Andre, do you want to give us the rundown on the all the info on this one?
Yeah, well, it's been confirmed that once he becomes a free agent as of June 30th, when July 1st comes in, the window opens, he will sign with Tottenham. It is confirmed. So yes, this is a nice graphic from our Spurs-related team, but by all means, it is very much accurate. He will be wearing the Tottenham shirt in less than a month. And by all means, I think personally, if you're going to have a backup goalkeeper, he's not going to be this starlet of a player, this $80 million goalkeeper. He's not going to sign for a team to be on the bench. But by all means, you get yourself a player who's proven in the Premier League, who's done a job. He did very well for Southampton in that final bit of the season where he had to come in. And I think that he will do a job for us, especially in those cup games, give Lloris some time to just focus on the Premier League, focus on Champions League, and Forster can take care of the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup, and especially in those beginning rounds.
Yeah, 100%. He's a good cup goalkeeper, and like you said, for the Carabao Cup and FA Cup, I think Fraser Forster just gives Lloris that little bit of rest. And, at the end of the day, goalkeepers technically don't need to be as rested as often as outfield players. But Lloris, I think, coming on for the age he is, I think it's always good to wrap him in cotton wool at times. And I think Fraser Forster offers that amazing experience that he's got, and I think his quality. He's very tall as well. I think he's like 6'7" and 6'8". He's a tall guy as well. So I think it's a good option. Let's see what the chat's saying. David Thompson is saying, to be fair, I'm looking forward to players that will sign just like Kulusevski and Bentancur. We didn't even have links with them. They just signed and we were like, fair enough, I guess he's saying here. And, they turned out to be incredible. It's not players necessarily that you have to be linked with for ages that gets you excited. I mean, to be honest with you, Kulusevski and Bentancur, I think, came as a surprise to most people. They weren't expecting everyone to be that good. So there you go. Leo saying, I think we need Pope. He's better than the Championship. Leo, I don't think we're going to get Pope now. I think it's, Fraser Forster. It's been announced. It's done. The promos are done on this one. Louis saying he would do fine for cup games. He has experience too. Absolutely agree, Louis. Absolutely agree. Joe saying you'd like to hear about Rashford. Heard United have rejected an approach by Tottenham, who were interested in speaking to him. Wow, I haven't heard that one, Joe. But like we said, as soon as we see that as a tier 1 source, we'll obviously talk about it. But for me, just very quickly on Rashford, I would be surprised if he moves from Man United. I think, Man United's almost his boy club. I think I'd be very surprised if Rashford came to Spurs. Wouldn't you, Andre?
Yeah, I mean, what? Is he going to come in and sit behind Heung-min Son? I don't think so. But by all means,
I guess he could play.
Huh?
I was just going to say, well, he could obviously play on the Kulusevski side, and if he, Rashford's been awful recently. He's kind of lost his mojo, but, there's no doubting he's an incredible player when he's on form, but I just don't know where he'd fit in.
Also he'd command a hefty price, no?
Very, very hefty price, surely. Very hefty price. Bodril Mazid's in it. Good evening, guys. Big up, Bodril. But maybe final thoughts on Forster, guys. If you've got anything else to say about Fraser Forster, whack it in the chat now and we'll discuss. But, Andre, for you, do you think this is the right move?
Yeah, 100%. Not to mention that he's English. He's got that, I believe, that homegrown quota that will be filled for us, especially with a certain someone, probably your favorite player in the world, who might be leaving Tottenham very, very soon in this window.
Harry Stinks.
Yes, exactly. So by all means, take out one Englishman to wherever he goes, bring in another one. That's totally fine with me.
Yeah, no, fair logic. Fraser Forster is a solid keeper, says Simply Ace. There is no way we are going to get much better than him. He is a backup after all. Exactly that. We're not going to get, Manuel Neuer on the bench or, Donnarumma. We're just going to get Fraser Forster, who is a very good keeper and experienced. I take it. The chat seems happy. Exiati is very happy. Great backup. And there we go. But let's move on from Fraser Forster, Andre, and let's talk about our next talking point.
Well, speaking of midfielders that are English, let's bring up Skip, who has been on the news recently that he will be back for all the preseason games. He will be back to play for Conte in no time. And I'm very happy about this because, man, we've missed him.
Yeah, I mean, what great news this was yesterday that he's going to be ready for, I believe, the start of the season, right, Andre? So it's great news. It's fantastic news. Obviously, he's been through an operation on his injury, and it's we did miss him at one point. Obviously, Bentancur came in at the right time, just around the time he was kind of getting injured and started to be excluded from the squad. And then you thought, well, what's wrong with him? And then it was put off by Conte saying we'd be back, and then it came out he had an operation. And I think, it's absolutely brilliant news. He was probably one of our players of the season before he got injured. I think a lot of people agree me on this one. He was very, very good for Spurs at the start of the season, kind of up till maybe January, December. And he was brilliant under Nuno as well for that small 3-month period. We were really excited to get him back from Norwich. And it was obviously a massive shame that he got injured because you could argue, well, would he have stayed in the starting 11 over Bentancur or Højbjerg? I would probably argue the way he was playing, you would keep him in the starting 11 over those two, but it'd be interesting to see what happened. And the main thing for me about Skip being back is the 3-5-2 or the 5-3-2, however you look at it, that we can now play as an option against maybe tougher teams. We didn't have that option because we were always relying on Harry Winks, and it was like playing two in midfield, let's be honest, at times. So I think it's incredible news he's back. I can't wait to see him back in a Spurs shirt, playing again. The Spurs fans love him. He's a local lad, and I just think he's got bags of potential. Of course, people might be sitting there and saying, well, look at Harry Winks. Look how hyped we got about him. Of course, I completely agree. And Harry Winks fell off. But hopefully this injury doesn't affect him too much because I do think he is a good couple of levels above Harry Winks. I think that's probably even insulting to say that. I have to say that. But, let's be honest, we were all on the Harry Winks train at one point. Let's hope the Ollie Skip train continues in the fashion it was, which was absolutely incredible.
Yeah, for sure. And by all means, he might have to work his way into that starting 11 again. But to be honest, having backups that are as reliable as Skip, if he keeps growing the way he's been over the past season or two, by all means, he's a pleasure to have in the squad. Seeing him come on will be amazing. The fact that if you take out, say, I guess he plays more of the Højbjerg style, right? Or does he play more Bentancur style?
Yeah, we had this discussion before. I would honestly say that he's more of a Højbjerg. He kind of sits back more. He doesn't really tend to get forward as much. Ollie Skip, he kind of does the dirty work, but I think he's better at passing than Højbjerg. I think that's fair to say. He kind of picks up off a really good ball. He's almost a hybrid of the two, to be honest with you, because Bentancur can get forward, but also I think Bentancur and Højbjerg, they've been, especially at the end of the season, they complement each other very well. Very, very well. Louis saying I see much more composure with Skip compared to Winks, even when Winks was getting hyped up. Yeah, he kind of takes everything in stride, Ollie Skip. Simply saying great to see Skip back, and no doubt he will keep Højbjerg and Bentancur on their toes, which is what we need. I think Skip and Højbjerg will battle for a place in the team to partner Bentancur. Yeah, this is what I think. I think he's more like a Højbjerg. I think Skip and Bentancur would be the choice if Højbjerg gets injured or maybe comes out of form. I think that is where I see him fitting in. But also, like I said, don't forget, he would be brilliant in a midfield three. I really do believe that.
Yeah, exactly. And as I was saying, so say Højbjerg needs to come off, the fact that I wouldn't feel that fear or be rolling my eyes over who's coming in. by all means, that's kind of where we need to be. We need to be at a position where whoever comes in from our depth is someone that we're like, oh, okay, great, we're fine.
Yeah.
No change in quality. It's the same quality.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. I think everyone in the chat's very excited to see Skip back. I think it's great news. It's almost a little signing in itself, really. We've missed a player of Skip's caliber, and I think it's fantastic to have a little bit more squad depth because, of course, we were really struggling in the midfield department for the last few months. I mean, we were honestly a bit concerned, especially when, you know, I think Højbjerg or Bentancur, I believe, weren't available for one game. I can't remember which one, and we had to play with Winks. I think it was the Wolves game, and we got completely outrun. I think Højbjerg got benched. That was it, and we played Bentancur and Winks, and we lost that game against Wolves, and we really shouldn't have. And we thought top four was over at that point, but you know, of course, we know the story now. But I think it's great to have that option on the bench, or if he gets in over Højbjerg, it'd be interesting to see. But let's see how that pans out.
100%, and just it's also a bit more relaxing for players knowing they have someone who has their back, someone who's their backup, who won't the player won't feel sort of bad that he's resting in one game. You know, like I feel Højbjerg that game was probably sitting there just going like, why am I not playing? I'm tired, but I should be playing because look what's happening. But I'm sure, especially if Skip keeps going, keeps growing, if Højbjerg were to maybe sit one game out, maybe, you know, his muscles are a little sore, Skip plays, he'll do a job, Højbjerg will feel okay, the whole team, the morale will be fine, because we have a team effort means having each other's backs. So that's kind of what we need in our players.
Yeah, I would agree with everything you just said there. 100%. Catman Jesse is saying, big up James and Andre, always good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Andre, on to the next topic.
All right, so this one's a little different. It's not really player related, more kit related.
Ooh.
More Spurs related in terms of the club itself. The new kit that has come out. Personally, don't know how I feel about those yellow stripes, but feels like the same kit to me, to be honest.
Do you know what? Without going off on one, it's the same kit with yellow around it, pretty much. I think is a little bit of a line, if you can see, between sort of the armpit and the top of the collar. You see that curved lines, those two curved lines?
Oh, yeah, I just noticed it. Wow, okay.
But is that worth, and then maybe the material is slightly different, but apart from that, is that worth £80 or whatever they're charging? I'm not so sure. Leo's ordered it already. Incredible. For me, I won't be buying this one. It's basically last season's kit with yellow stripes, and I'm not saying I don't like yellow stripes. I think they could grow on me. Oh, sorry. There's the bit in the collar as well, on the inside of the collar, because that's going to be seen when you put it on. But I don't know. I mean, I don't have a lot to say about this, Andre, because I'll go off on one about how I think it's absolutely ridiculous every year that the club charges £80 to £100 for this kit, and it's pretty much the same, just very minimal changes. Gamma just saying, I love the kit and the stripes. Simply is saying this kit is SH1, and Ellie is saying Bentancur and Højbjerg should be rested for all domestic cup matches and play Skip and White. Well, Ellie, you could almost argue that Ollie Skip could challenge Højbjerg if Højbjerg's off form, but I think Højbjerg was very good at the end of the season. Louis saying they really can't be asked this season, could they? Like, I think the designer honestly just kind of realized they had to design a kit maybe like a week ago and thought, oh, okay, right, let me get the concept from last year, let me get the design from last year and put some yellow stripes around it and pretend I've changed the material a bit. I mean, I think it's a disgrace that they can charge £80 to £100 for this every season. I mean, I remember when kits, I think it was England kits, came out every 2 seasons, and that was respectable because they actually changed them quite a lot. But now we're in the modern era where they change them every season, and sometimes there's obviously 3 kits. Well, a lot of the time there's 3 kits. I just think it's, if the fan gets the 3 kits right, you're looking at nearly £300. At least change it considerably. I know you have to keep the roots of the white, but there is a lot you can do with a kit, and to change 2 or 3 minor things, I don't know.
They are playing with the saying less is more. I feel like they're trying to break this sort of saying and just going like, you know what, less is more is not more at all.
Yeah, I mean, looks like they've recycled some of the excess material from the training kits and rebranded it as a trim on a blank white top. I mean, I, I never buy the home one because it's got a red in it. It says Marks. Good point. Why is our sponsor red? Why can't they make that bit blue? I never. I think it's because AIA is a red logo company. You can fold the sleeves up and there's design on the other slide. Leo, you've convinced me. I'm going to go and buy it right now. Hang on a minute, Andre. I'm just going to. I mean, it's just come on, guys, come on. Daniel Levy got a cheap designer and he has to look out for his bank balance. Yeah, it's all about those. It's all about those books. And Cameron just said our home kit has been virtually the same since we had an AIA sponsor. I'm used to it, but it could be better. I love the plain lily white. Louis saying 80 could at least. I'm not sure what you mean here, Louis, but I'm telling you now, it's £80 on the Spurs website. I've seen someone on SpursRelated sent us an Instagram receipt, and they paid like $140, which is like nearly £100. And I'm sat there thinking, wow, like some people are convinced very quickly. Like I'm not judging these people, but I just think it's incredible that every season they come up with something that is just like meh. That's how I describe it. It's just
Look, here's the thing. Here's my problem. This is why I'm annoyed. Okay, so in the 2018-19 season, that kit personally, I loved it. It was the blue fade. Yes, okay. I got a Harry Kane shirt, and then I said to myself, "All right, Heung-min Son has killed it in the Champions League, so next season I'll buy a Heung-min Son shirt." And it was very plain. Then I was like, "Okay, I'll wait for the next season." It got even more plain. And now this season, and we have this. And I'm sitting there going, they're not, like, I'm worried because I want to buy a Heung-min Son shirt, but I don't want it to be this. I want something a bit more.
Sorry, Andrea, I completely get what you're saying, but Marks is £115 for the player version.
Oh, no.
That's like an average day person's day rate. Imagine your day's
and on my end, you have to think about shipping costs as well.
It honestly blows my mind. I mean, let's put the question in the chat to end things off. Are you going to be buying this shirt, or maybe are you waiting for the away shirt to see what that's like? Wow, £80. Wow, £80 to 115. It's mind blowing. But guys, let us know. Are you going to be buying this shirt? Put it in the comments. It's our tradition to have a plain white home shirt. No, I get that, Catman Jess. I completely get what you're saying. But I mean, surely you can change it a little bit. Like maybe the blue sleeves. I used to love I think it's 2006. I remember I had it. It was one of my first kits, Jermaine Defoe. It was the white with the blue sleeves, the dark blue sleeves. I don't know if you guys remember that one. I could probably get a picture, but that was incredible.
Oh, yeah.
But this, I mean, this is taking the mick a little bit. I'd rather pay £100 to look like a cardboard sign begging for one, though. Okay, the away shirt is terrible, but works as a kit. For the third, I will definitely be buying that. Do you mean the current away one, the one with all the multicolours? I mean, I prefer that to this. Most people want it customized. That's over £100. No thanks. Exactly, Louis. Exactly. I mean, it's incredible. It is incredible. I'm not, says Mark, it's got red in it. Yeah, I get this point. I do get this point. But I thought it was just a little interesting one to end things off, guys. Maybe a bit of a light-hearted one. It's interesting to know that Leo's already bought it, and some of you guys are going to be nowhere near buying this one. But that's up to you guys. You've heard mine and Andre's opinion. We certainly won't be paying nearly £100 for this one, especially as it's not really an iconic one. I'd rather maybe pay for an away one if it's actually genuinely decent, like Champions League one when Lucas Moura scored the hat-trick. That's iconic. I would have loved that shirt, but that's so rare now. I don't know. Finally,
not to mention that you have to think of the conversion rate for me from euros to Canadian dollars plus shipping.
Yeah, not good. Cameron just saying the yellow goalkeeper kit is very nice and vintage looking. Maybe go for the if you're actually going to spend something, the yellow goalkeeper kit, maybe as a little bit of an outsider one. Joe's just said home shirt is more play than Michael Owen's voiceovers. Yeah, absolutely agree. But guys, like I said, that was where we were wrapping things off. We will put timestamps on each part of the video for you to skip to certain bits, whether it's Pau Torres, whether it's about Ollie Skip or this kit. We'll put them in the description below. I hope you've enjoyed this one, guys. Great support on this video again today. Like, we were averaging like 25, 30 views. It's been really, really good lately, and we really appreciate the support. Before you go, if you could smash a thumbs up, and if you are new and you're watching us, subscribe. That would mean an awful lot as well. We'll be back, believe, on Friday to give you all the latest updates. So expect a video Friday evening where we have Jack Burford on as well. And remember, guys, as always, keep believing that we're going to sign some good players, because it will come. Andre, thanks for joining me.
Of course, always happy. It's going to be a busy window.
Exactly that, mate. And remember, guys, come on, you Spurs!
Come on, you Spurs!
Never wanted Bastoni anyway, mate.